and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well. Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGreen with a scorpion kick into the top corner. It's one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. Come on, Ernie, on your feet.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio. You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. George and Lachie Flanagan, and it's the State of Our Football Nation. And we're back another week, and importantly, some very special guests. We've got a grand final winner.
We do.
We've got a young guy who is getting ready to do another version of the Tour de France for his career of calling the Tour de France is immense. I'm talking about Mike Tomalaris. But he's coming on to talk about a football streaming program coming up next week, which is called Everybody Unite for the Beautiful Game. And we're also going to catch up with someone in the West. People keep telling me you don't talk enough about what's going on in the West. And it is still part of Australia, despite what Mark McGowan
I'm not getting myself involved in that.
Tried to do through the last couple of years. He was talking secession and all that sort of stuff. Now we're going to catch up with Tony Pignata at Perth Glory. They've had the sort of season no club really wants to endure, but there were mitigating circumstances, and already they're planning for what's to come next. And you and I, Lachie, have spoken about the longest ever pre-season, and it belongs to the A-League. It's just the biggest break of all. But there are things that are afoot. There are competitions. There's the new Australia Cup that'll get the teams back into action a lot sooner than we imagined. For those of you wondering, when does the A-League return, A-League Men's? We're talking October, first few days of October. So exciting times ahead.
Yes.
But right now, I want to talk to you about a couple of games that happened overnight.
Absolutely.
Before we go to our first guest.
There's the one that I won't talk about, and that's Scotland-Ukraine, because as a Scotland supporter, I don't really want to.
You're just feeling
Look, I just want to say I'm happy for Ukraine, and let's just leave it at that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put the ad graphic back on and find the tissues.
Right. Okay. Had I known, I would have brought an extra box of aloe vera, and Linian. What is it? No, there's a beautiful new box of tissues available. I had to buy them for my wife, and they're especially vibrant and wonderful, and
it's okay.
Have the right texture.
It's okay.
Had
George.
I known, I would have brought an extra couple of boxes.
I shouldn't really be that upset. Me and my family have become quite accustomed to not having Scotland feature at the World Cup.
Flanagan. Lachie Flanagan, come on, you knew this was on the cards.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it any less painful.
No,
George.
I suppose you're right. Look, it's probably marginally better or marginally worse than how I felt grand final day. I cared for both sets of fans, cared for both sets of teams, know enough people on both sides to respect both of them, and yet I felt like a loser. It was a city side that didn't really turn up and played a rather methodical game, and they were outgunned. I thought they were outmanoeuvred, and fittingly, Western United created some history, which was wonderful for them and for their fan base. And to all the naysayers, you've got some rethinking to do. Go and pick someone else, because clearly there are enough bragging rights for those who wear the green and white. And didn't they wear it with the green, black and white? Didn't they wear it with great style? I thought they opened the game in super fashion.
Yeah.
They hit them hard. They got a good goal early. And it was the worst part about it was, as I watched the corner about to take place, I said, the last thing I want to see is a goal from this corner. And the rest is history. Because that's all they really needed. Had the game gone longer before an opening goal, I'm not suggesting for one moment that Western United or the result would have been any different, but I think as early as it came, it then was just a matter of could they close the door and get another one, and they certainly did. It was terrific.
Yeah, I thought they...
What did you make of the entertainment before the game?
Well, I actually was rushing to get to the game. I made it right on kickoff. I was coming from a commentary assignment that I had in Dandenong.
Yes.
So I had to fly back to the city. I actually watched it back.
It's pretty good.
I quite like young Franco, the artist. I enjoyed the stuff he was doing. I understand that maybe a few people couldn't hear it quite as well in the stadium. There might have been an accidental Melbourne United reference, a reference to a club that doesn't exist. But other than that, the music itself was good.
And what's also interesting, the light show worked.
Yeah, that actually was probably the part that impressed me the most.
It may well have made the AFL rethink some of their strategies.
Maybe they'll have to develop their own unique league song. I don't know what that would sound like, actually. I don't know if I want to know.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of games played overnight.
Sure.
We're talking about the Socceroos. They got an early practice game in before their all-important game next week against the UAE. They played Jordan. And what did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, they got the win. Was it overly convincing? Not necessarily.
I think it was about getting time in their legs, don't you think?
Yeah, and scope to maybe some players who haven't featured regularly in and out, which I think some people might have thought that was a bit surprising, but still someone like an Aaron Moy, who's obviously, given his club situation, struggled to get proper match minutes in.
Absolutely.
Good for him to have a stint. And yeah, look, were the Socceroos the best from open play? No. Were they dominant from set pieces? Yes, and that was enough. And I guess they'll be hoping that sort of aerial dominance can carry through to the game against the UAE.
And you think it might be a template that might carry the day next week?
Yeah, I don't know how much I like it, but I wouldn't be surprised if
I
that's
don't think at this stage of a World Cup campaign you have to like it. It's all about results at this stage. We're not one of those glamour countries that has 20 or 30 players that you can draw on that are likely to break the door down.
Yes.
So let's understand what it is and see it in the best possible light. And to Arnie and the boys, all the very best. What did you make of the juniors, the under-23 mob?
Yeah, they had a pretty solid performance. I watched the first half of it before going to sleep to get up for the 4 a.m. kickoff.
Couple of good goals.
Really liked what I saw. I mean, Quoll didn't, he had a few sort of big chances that went missing, but I still thought he put in a really, really promising performance. Of course, the big challenges for them are still to come.
Correct.
In other games they've got in the group stage. Kuwait maybe a little bit of an easier opponent, but still, as things go, to start things off in the way they did, and both fullbacks, I thought in particular, were excellent. Lewis Miller and Jacob Farrell as well, both played really well. Can't complain to see A-League talents performing on the big stage.
And a win is a win. It's about confidence too, isn't it? Playing away from home.
Well, on the subject of winning, George, we've got a very big winner from last weekend.
Well, why don't you introduce
us?
You've had enough practice over the last year or so doing a thing called the Green Room.
Well, we might actually. I'm gonna make the audience wait just a tiny little bit longer. We'll head to a quick little word from the sponsors, and then on the other side of this break, we'll have Neil Kilkenny joining us on the program. We'll see you on the other side.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
For this great sporting nation, has yet to embrace fully the world's greatest game. And for so long of trying to have the game accept. And when I'm up to the big football field in the sky, I just want people just to remember I told you so.
And suddenly the complexion of the game changes. Let's hope it doesn't, but this is the best period for Iran in the match. Ali Daei, danger for Australia here, the flag's down! It's an equaliser for Iran!
Just feel for them, not just the boys, they are representative of so many people who make this game their life. It's just, I can't say anything, mate.
All right.
Especially as they have the impetus. Aloisi, Cahill, Tim Cahill has done it again! What a goal by Tim Cahill! 2-1 Australia! Oh, it's a wonderful moment in Kaiserslautern! And Tim Cahill has come off the bench and maybe won the match for the Socceroos.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well.
Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGreen with a scorpion kick into the top corner. It's one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. Come on, Ernie, on your feet.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR.
three players that I've probably looked up to the most.
Those three, because when I watch you play, I see half a dozen different elements. I see the hard-working player in the middle, and I also see the player who doesn't stop talking, keeps driving everyone, keeps trying to direct. It's almost like you're the coach on the pitch. Is that the feeling?
Yeah, first and foremost, it comes from the manager, of allowing that to happen. Obviously, you have to be secure enough to do that. But yeah, I feel throughout my years, I've got decent experience. I'll be honest with you, physically, I'm not as good as a lot of players. But I've always said that my brain is probably quicker than a lot of other players, I'm not the quickest, but I'll see things happen before they're going to happen. So I can move across the pitch when I need to cover the spaces and then obviously help players around me that maybe were out of position, maybe even by a yard. And you think in football, you've won and lost by such small margins these days. So if you're a yard out of place, you could cost the team, and that comes from the coaches as well. Hayden Fox and obviously John and Lachie. They always we'll do video sessions and analysis sessions. Even if you're a yard out, they'll be onto you to say, listen, you need to be a yard in or a yard there to stop that play. And so obviously I try and help and reiterate what they tell us.
That brains trust of Hayden Fox, of Johnny Aloisi, and of course John Anastasiadis, that must be a tremendous resource to be able to go to throughout a week, throughout a season, to make those very subtle shifts and changes.
Yeah, obviously like I said, I've watched different managers and coaches over the years, and obviously with them. So, they know that my football brain is decent enough to, and then obviously if I've got any advice or any, obviously to give the players or to ask any advice, I've got the right people to ask. And like I said, I just reiterate what they do, and I watch what they want in video sessions and tactical sessions. And then, like I said, I try and take as much information in as possible, because I'm always willing to learn. I'm ready to learn all the time, because obviously when I finish my career, I want to coach, and to get feeding off them and to get information off them. And, like I said, the managers that I've worked with over the years, I try and take a little bit of something out of them all, whether it's good or bad, and try to learn from that.
The other thing you share in common with your gaffer, other than the sort of the coaching intelligence, if you will, is you've both had to deal with pretty immense challenge this season, both being sort of separated from your families in different states. I mean, it must have meant so much to you, because I was keeping an eye out on the Western United crew at full time at Amy. I stuck around and I saw the moment where you got to bring your family onto the pitch. What did that moment mean to you to end a season of such challenge with a moment like that?
Yeah, it was challenging. Like I said, I've said in many interviews, many tears along the way, actually, to sacrifice what I did, and obviously my family to sacrifice. And like I said in my speech last night, my partner, she's making the biggest sacrifice in the sense of looking after 4 children, obviously in Perth, then the borders got closed. Then obviously what happened with her father going back to the UK for 2 months, and obviously then having to travel to the final. And I'm hoping that, it won't have its lasting effects, but, the situation that's happened is, it's been really tough on us all. And but like I said, it's a bit of an icing on the cake that we've obviously, we've gone and won it. When I first came to the club, that was, the aim. I've always said I went to Melbourne City and helped that club win their first FA Cup, first piece of trophy.
Yep.
Then obviously I went to Perth and I did exactly the same with the league, helped them achieve what their first bit of trophy in the A-League era. And now I've come to Western United and won the grand final, helped to win the grand final as a team. And like I said, the club has fully deserved it massively. The characters we have in that change room, in the whole club, from right to the top, all the way through the club, they thoroughly deserve everything that they get.
Well, and I think given what you've gone through this season, Neil, I think I speak on behalf of both myself and George to say that you deserve it. But I'm thinking back to a conversation you had on this station at the start of the season, just after your signing with Western United was announced. And I remember you bringing up the fact that you had maybe an offer from a couple of other Melbourne clubs, perhaps, that were interested in your services as well. Maybe clubs that people at the start of the season might have had as a big chance of making and or winning a grand final. But you went with Western, and you must be feeling awfully vindicated in that decision right now.
Of course, all three Melbourne clubs have won something this year, obviously Melbourne City with the league, the FFA Cup with Melbourne Victory, and then us with the grand final. And the grand final was the one that I really, really wanted, because it's sort of on a personal note, it cleans up everything to be won in Australia. That now I can say that I've had the opportunity to do that. But I have to say it's been an absolute honour to play for Western United. And like I said, throughout the club, have been unbelievable with the way they've treated me, from Jason, the chairman, to Chris, obviously to the management, all the management, the physio staff, the players. I've always said it. The players have seen unbelievable emotion from me this year, before games, after games, on the coaches. I remember Wellington away, and we had a date that the borders would open, and then Mark McGowan changed them. And I was devastated, because obviously I was so looking forward to seeing my family. And then literally after a couple of hours before the game, or even, I don't know if it's the night before or whatever, I just didn't know how to, when you have something to look forward and it's sort of taken away, actually it digs deep. And obviously, just, like I said, I've missed my family so much.
Yeah, it's cruel when things like that are done, and this is sometimes what we've had to endure this last couple of years, what people don't truly appreciate. It's how difficult decisions made, it seems, from the top. You hope that the people who've made those decisions truly understand the extraordinary ramifications and the ripples that rip through a society, that rip through a community, and in this case, rip through Australia. And you've just highlighted for us very clearly just how emotional that must have been, that moment where you've geared yourself up to seeing the family, knowing that you're going to see them in a couple of hours' time, and Mark McGowan, the Premier of WA, has decided, no, there's a security or a safety risk there, or a health safety risk, I'm going to close the doors. That would have been absolutely mind-numbingly sad and tough. And I think it says a lot more about the entire crew that you've stayed so close together. I got a chance to see you guys in Adelaide when you came to play the Adelaide Reds. And I got a chance to see that crew wander the streets of Adelaide looking for breakfast, looking for lunch, looking for dinner. You're an awfully tight crew. I mean, that is something that I think a lot of people would agree with me. Tell me about some of the characters, because let me tell you, that giant up front, he became a beast. The longer the season went, he just seemed to grow another leg. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's very doesn't say much, if I'm honest, in the changing room. Just sits there on his own, really. But I always watch. I observe a lot since I walked through my career, but obviously since I walked through the door, to watch characters, watch they went about things. Obviously with Alex as well. He was a player. I've seen a lot of players that shrink when they step over that white line. Yep. But he sort of grew as a character, and I think obviously the perception obviously is the same about me. People go, oh, he's always loud. I'm not massive during the week, but when I step over that white line on the training pitch or on the pitch, I want to drive players. You've got obviously Dia, who's a very loud character with his, the voice, with his accent. You've obviously got Top, and then you've got the younger players like Lachie Wales, who he's just energised bunny. But we sort of all, we all knew the goal. And like I said, when I first come to the club, I watched characters. I watched the way that they went by things, the way that the manager drove things, Foxy, JA. Yeah. And I knew that, we were in for a good season, especially the way that we were organised, how close we were, and then obviously you put into the mix of goals. Wenzel Hall, at the start of the season when Alex went there, he would nick goals. Melbourne City, I remember, and we'd win 1-0, and that shows how together we were because we were so organised, but we wanted to really, really work and cover for each other, and that comes from people who are willing to work and willing to. I always say at the start of the season, you could go into a meeting with every single team, and you ask them, do you want to win the league? And everyone will win games or win the grand final. And everyone will put up their hand, but straight away, I've changed the question, but are you willing to win the league? Are you willing to grand finals? And the way of winning is to sacrifice, work every single day. Every single day, if the manager asks you, move 2 yards, you move 2 yards. If he asks you to move 5 for the organisation of the team, that's what he did, and that's what the players were willing to do, and that's why we've had such a successful season.
Neil Kilkenny is our special guest on State of Our Football Nation, the grand final winner, Western United midfield supremo driver, whatever you want to call him, and you're getting a sense of just how difficult the season has been to navigate both for players and for teams and for a number of clubs. And we'll be talking very shortly with Tony Pignata, who's at Perth Glory. And they've had a miserable season compounded by many of the things that Neil has mentioned already. But Neil, just take us to the grand final. I had Lachie's rushing from the southeast to get to the ground for the opening celebrations, or not so much celebrations, but the music and the intro before the game actually started. Just take us back to those few minutes before the game started. What were you thinking? What was going on in the dressing room? Was it very quiet or was it rowdy?
I think it was, you watched around the changing room, it was very similar to every game, You had obviously the Energizer bunnies, going and you had the quieter ones keeping themselves to themselves. Then you had the old man and myself doing my same routine of stretching for 20 minutes before the game to try and get going. And then you had obviously the group that obviously weren't playing, but they were so willing, us on to, whether they were injured or not even into the team. No, in a minute. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No. You take all the time you need. So it was just normal, a normal day. But like I said, everyone was so in it. I just want to go back onto the situation of what you said about, the COVID situation. Not at 1 minute at this football club, or I would have made the excuses. The manager always said to us, we have to deal with what comes at us, whether we're away, at home, COVID situation. We had no excuses, and that's what he drummed into us. And that's, I've always thought that you can't have excuses. If everyone's going through tough times, but you have to, when you step on that pitch, you have to roll your sleeves up and get going. And as a group, that's what we did, and that's why we won the grand final, because we knew that a lot of teams didn't fancy us, a lot of pundits, a lot of players. But we knew that we stuck together and we had no excuses. We'd be right there or thereabouts. And that's what we did. And that's why we were where we were. Well, that's affirmation. Lachie and I were talking a little earlier about when did you think you had the result within your grasp? Was it that early goal that was the essential sort of spark that gave you not the confidence, because you from what you're saying, clearly you guys were confident, you were focused and you were ready to go, but was that sort of more affirmation that yes, this is ours and we're just now going to work and take it?
Well, if you look at the whole final series, we got back to what we were at the start, or even up to probably about 6-7 games. 6-7 games towards the end of the season. We were very hard to beat. We knew if we'd go up. During the season, we spoke, and players would speak to our players on the pitch, players, and they'd turn and go, if you guys score, we know it's going to be incredibly tough to score 2 against you guys. So we knew the aura we had around the league within ourselves. And we knew that in that grand final series, if we got back to what we knew, and if we scored first or we were tight at the back, we would nick a goal. And like I said, you need your big players. Even in the grand final, you think our big players stood up. And everyone will talk about Alex, but Leo, Tomoki, the back four, they stood up and they were like rock solid. Jamie Young needed to make saves when he did. And then you had a goal scorer who, you know, he nicked a goal. And that's what he did throughout the final series. And that's what we knew. We need to get back to that, and we did get back to that. And John Aloisi, even the Melbourne victory game when we played in that, he was so calm after the game because he looked at them and goes, they're a fantastic team. We knew they were fantastic, but they didn't really have many chances. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, what a strike from Jake Brimmer. And what he did in both games was unbelievable. You know, the quality. I played with Jake. He's got incredible ability, but now he's obviously showing that on a regular basis. So we knew if we kept that going, it would kept that, you know, the defensive shape going, we would be fine. And that's what we did. And we were so strong defensively, and the back four and the goalkeeper deserve massive credit for that.
Well done.
And I think you drive on a really important point that you have a few times this evening. It wasn't just the starters who did this job. So many people throughout the squad and outside of the squad as well have contributed to this in a big way, in a sort of way that I think a lot of other teams maybe don't necessarily do. It's not just the starters who have led to this win, and many people have sacrificed, many people have put in hard work. But I hope, Neil, that, you know, before we let you go, you've had the chance to celebrate the fruits of all that labour as well. I know you had the awards night last night.
He's babysitting right now.
I have it on good authority that Jason Sarasis has opened up the pub in Sydney Road a few times for people who like to enter. Have you been able to enjoy this with your family and with your playing squad as well?
After the game, we had a friend that looked after the kids for the night, and me and my partner went out, obviously celebrated only for a couple, but I'm not a massive drinker anyway. And then obviously on Monday, we had Mad Monday, but you know, my missus has had the kids for 10 months, so I took the kids with me.
Fantastic.
I wasn't drinking, I was driving. And then obviously I had the last night, the awards night, that me and my partner went to as well. And, you know, I think I had one beer. So, I've, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, I've been away from my family for 10 months. That's why the kids are on me. They want to go swimming every day. So that's when my daughter just poked her head through the door and was like, can we go swimming now?
Yeah.
And she's, but she's been like that for ages, but it's no worries. She can be patient. You know, she's a good girl, really.
That's fantastic stuff. Can I just say, if they have half of what Dad has inside him that drives him, they're well on their way. We wish you every success, my boy. I don't know if you got another year in you, or are you looking forward to coaching?
I'll be honest with you, I think I've got many more years. I'll be honest, the way that I play the game.
That's good. That's good.
You know, I don't rely on my physical attributes to the extent that other players do.
Gotcha.
But obviously, my family is, you know, my kids are number one, and you know, like I said, they've made massive sacrifices this year, and so I have to look at it. But we'll see. I'm not too sure what's going to go on yet.
Well, Neil Kilkenny, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. Listen, just enjoy the break, and we look forward to seeing what comes up next in this tremendous career that you've driven and you continue to drive. And again, I love to see people. I remember the day you walked into Melbourne City. I knew that we had someone who had that important quality that's called smarts, hunger, and was never going to shirk, the battle ahead. And I really enjoyed your time at City, and I congratulate you on everything that you've done either at Perth Glory and again here at Western United. So well done, champ.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Don't be silly. All the very best. Look after yourself. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Neil.
Bye-bye.
Neil doing some tremendous work, giving us a sense of the commitment that a professional footballer must have if they want to make a career of it. And it reminds me, I think whatever endeavour of business or life, if you don't put the work in, if you don't put the energy in, if you don't go the whole hog, you shouldn't be thinking, I'm going to make it to the top.
I think model pro is consummate professional.
Tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very tough.
All of the above.
But the thing that, again, he reminded us all just how important reading the game is. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. Got another special guest coming up right after this.
We do.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. Our next guest is Tony Pignata, CEO of Perth Glory, and we've just finished talking with Neil Kilkenny, who, of course, was part of the Western United team that won the grand final, and he was telling us just how incredibly tough the season was on so many different levels, and football being one of them. But there were so many other things that the players and the clubs and the teams were denied throughout the season. Tony Pignata, welcome to FNR.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, you can probably, reiterate and concur with Neil just the number of moments, the sheer disruption, which challenged you mentally, physically, and I suppose every other way as well.
Yeah, look, it's been hard. It's, as I've told people, this is probably the worst ever in the 15 years that I've been involved in the A-League. It's just a tough period. And Neil as well, because his family was based in Perth. He was in Melbourne. He couldn't go back. They couldn't come over. So he would have experienced a lot what we went through, both men and women really did it tough this year.
You know, he even reiterated to us one night when they were told they were only a couple of hours away from being able to fly into Perth to see family and others. And at the last possible moment, just before the game started, word came through that Mark McGowan had changed the rules, had locked the doors. He was furious. He was steaming between the ears. Were there moments like that took their toll of both you and Tony Sage?
Yeah, look, initially the borders were meant to open in March. We were prepared for that. They didn't open. It was very, very frustrating. We had players over in Sydney. Brisbane, Sydney. We even ended up in Tasmania for a period of 3 weeks until the borders opened. And by that stage, yeah, it was hard for us because you've been playing away for basically 3/4 of a season, and then to come home and play games and back it up, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think sometimes we on the Eastern Seaboard don't necessarily quite understand. And even George, you and I were talking about this, and Tony, I'm sure you can relate, but it's been a long season. It's easy to forget that 50% of pretty much all the games that were scheduled this season did end up being postponed. It was chaos for everyone, but most of all for Perth and Wellington. Was there ever a time, Tony, where you were sitting at your desk and thinking, how are we going to get through this? Can we get through this?
Yeah, look, probably one of the worst periods I ever went through was when one of our players got COVID in Brisbane, and they were thrown into hotel quarantine. The whole squad, players, staff, to do 14 days, and that would have meant that they would have been in their hotel quarantine on Christmas Day. So, yeah, we had to work miracles. We had to work with the Brisbane health authorities, the WA health authorities, just to get them out, charter a plane, get them on the plane, get them back home. At least they could spend Christmas Day, even though in isolation, with their families. So that was probably one of the worst weeks I've ever enjoyed. And I don't think I hardly slept. And I can feel for everyone who was, is stuck in a hotel as well. And, we talk about someone like Daniel Sturridge, but he arrived, did 2 weeks, then he got thrown into hotel quarantine again. It's just been a total mess. But, I'm really looking forward to getting this. Well, this season is over now, just moving on and focusing on next year.
You said it's over, but the work of the CEO at any football club is not over. You've got a whole host of things to do. You've got to prepare for, as they say, the next season. And the next season promises to be and could well be a watershed for the game in this country. And we've been saying this, I suppose, for a number of years. You and I know one another. We first met, I think, when I was president of South Melbourne. You were head of the Victorian Premier Leagues. And you knew you were getting as much experience as possible before you ventured into the A-League with your time at Wellington, which was a tremendous opportunity. Then you went to Sydney. And, of course, from Sydney you did wonderful things. And then you decided to take your wares and go to sunny old Perth. Is there another journey in you, Tony Pignata, or are you just very, very happy where you are at the moment?
Yeah, WA, wait a while, it'll get there. It's funny. Last week I celebrated 4 years in Perth, and I wanted to get closer, to the family after being away in Wellington and Sydney. So I thought I might as well go on the other side of the country. But no, look, it's a great city. This year's been a tough year, but. When I got there in 18, we won the Premier's Plate. We sold out the grand final, nearly 57,000 people at Optus Stadium. Albeit we didn't win it. We lost on penalties. But then when COVID hit, we really struggled. And I think the whole club is now looking forward to having a clean slate next year and being able to, travel normally and play normally and really get this league back on track.
And you've got a long season or long off season to rest and
but a new
recuperate.
coach.
Yes, but the good thing is that despite that time, you've got all the ducks lined up early. A sort of
You needed to.
realignment of the footballing department. Obviously, Andy Keogh comes in as a director of recruitment. Kenny Miller is in as an academy director, and of course, Ruben Zadkovich confirmed as the head coach too.
Yeah, look, Sage and Andy sort of drove that. It's Andy had an illustrious career at Perth, and so he's now head of recruitment. Kenny's come back to look after academy, and he's done some wonderful things with the years, and I think he's had enough time in corporate world now. He wants to sort of come back. Ruben's been appointed. And then we've also appointed Joe Gallen, who will come in as a senior assistant to assist Ruben, who's basically sort of now got the gig full time.
I was going to say there's been a lot of resettling of horses and crews. We've just heard that Mark Milligan is going to be the new assistant in Adelaide to Carl Viet. We're looking to see what other moves are afoot. I noticed that Western United, who have done what is a remarkable job and made even more remarkable, as Lachie and I have discussed, they didn't play one home game all season, Tony, in the true sense of the word.
No, they don't have a home, do they?
That's right. It's been quite a remarkable journey for a bunch of gypsies, if you want to use that term. They've
done well, and
incredible.
I know you wouldn't have been too happy Saturday night, George. But,
well, you know something, Tony. I mentioned it to Lachie earlier, and I'm not sure I convinced him, but I have a unique, a love for the game in this country. When we're on air, we love the game. The only time I'm really in that combative team moment is when the referee's about to blow the whistle and I'm wearing my scarf and I'm following the team. And, of course, once the game is over, all I want is for the good of the game. And I've discussed it long and on a great many occasions with Gary Cole. And all I want to do, I've been in this game for so long, I'm not a teenager anymore. And I do love to win, yes, but I understand, more importantly, we have an enormous challenge to bring the disparate and fragmented elements of the game together in a fashion and in a way that possibly hasn't been done for an awful long time. And I'd love to think that we're going to start doing it in the next couple of weeks. We've got some big programming that you might hear about. One of them will be streamed, of course, through FNR and through a number of the Australian websites, Australian football websites. But what we really want to do is we want to try and give everyone an idea that there are some tremendous ideas out there. Let's canvass them. But at the same time, let's talk about what's been this year of horror. As you touched on, you've been in the game a long time and you haven't had to endure one like this. But let's get on with it. You're already planning for season 22-23, and dare I say it, 2023, my friend, has got a Women's World Cup, and there are going to be some young women who are going to be very, very keen to push their brand as high as they possibly can, because they'd love to play in front of packed crowds for a World Cup. Wouldn't it be exciting?
Yeah, look, that is going to be exciting, the Women's World Cup. I know that all the states are gearing, all the stadiums are gearing, and unfortunately it's going to cost us not having a home for a few months, which I need to sort out.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah, because the stadium at HBF Park is going to be, basically redone in new change rooms, tunnel area. We're for a few months, but I'm working on that to try and sort out another venue. But look, it is exciting. It's going to showcase women's football. It's grown, tremendously over the last 5 or 6 years. The W League is getting bigger and bigger. And then we've got a lot of our Matildas showcasing their ability overseas, none other than Sam Kerr, who's just getting bigger and better.
She's been a revelation. Year. She's been an absolute revelation from the time that you guys unleashed her into the marketplace. She's just been quite something. And tell me, from your position there, Tony, do you see more talent like that coming through?
Yeah, look, definitely. There's a lot of talent coming through, especially through the young Matildas. We've got 4 or 5 young Matildas that are in a training squad, and more people watching the game. More girls are sort of enjoying the game, and a lot want to emulate Sam Kerr. She's a great role model. So I think it's going to get bigger over the next 5 years, and next year's World Cup is going to be amazing.
Well, we wish you a much, much better year than the one you've had this year. Oh, my God. You wouldn't have to improve by too much to get through and say, wow, this is so much better year. Tony Pignata, thank you for taking the time to join us, to giving us a sense of what lies ahead and just how hard it was for a great number of clubs and for their CEOs to navigate. What a season 2022 has been. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
Tony Pignata. We've got another guest coming up in just a moment. Someone who's normally at this time of the year getting his bike ready, but he's got something else organised too that he's going to talk to us about in just a moment.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well. Oh my goodness! Have you seen a more freakish goal in A-League history? Riley McGreen with a scorpion kick into the top corner. It's one of the most amazing things we've ever seen. Come on, Ernie, on your feet.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. George Danikian, Lachie Flanagan. We started the program with Neil Kilkenny, then we went to Tony Pignata. Now we're going to grab ourselves a bike and talk to Mike the Bike Tomalaris. Great mate, SBS colleague, and these days getting himself ready to host, I think, some wonderful events in Europe, and more importantly, to host a program next Friday night about 6 o'clock. It'll be on FNR. It'll be on a number of the Football Australia sites as well. I'm talking about Everybody Unite for the beautiful game. Welcome, Mike. How are you?
Hi, George. It's great to be with you. You know, by hosting this football program along with you and Andy Pascalides next week, I've done a complete circle. I started my career in football all those years ago in the 80s and 90s, and here I am again hosting a football program. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mate, it's eerie. All I wanted to do was sport when I joined the television team at SBS, but Bruce Gingell had other things in mind, and he made me a newsman. And here I am all these years later. I've left the news behind, so to speak, and I'm now talking sport again. So it's like you're right. We're all going the full.
Returning to the roots.
To our roots, yes, very good.
Now, I just wonder, George, I wonder if the younger generation who are tuning in know the name Mike Tomalaris. I mean, I did start my career as a football reporter. I hosted some football programs. I never hosted On the Ball or the World Game, but I did go to the World Cup in the United States as a reporter in 1994, in France in 1998. That's a long time ago.
Mate, we remember.
I just want to make the point that though I may be 22 years of age, I am very, very familiar with the name Michael Tomalaris.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Josh. That's very nice of you.
Look, Lachie is he's so used to talking to Josh Parrish.
I know.
He's
I would want to be talking to Josh Parrish
Lachie
too.
Flanagan is running the gun. Talk to us. Listen, you start everything next week. We've got a 3-hour extravaganza. We're streaming across the country and across the globe. It's called, as I touched on a moment ago, Everybody Unite for the Beautiful Game. Harry Michaels this is his dream. He's been wanting to give the game the biggest boost because he believes that the game has never been more fractured and more, I suppose, distracted by what's happened. And we just talked to Neil Kilkenny, and he said it was a horror year. And how they got through it was by sheer mental toughness and a great camaraderie. And we heard from Tony Pignata that in all the years that he's been a CEO and involved with the game, he's never had to endure a year like this. And I'm just wondering if we can give the game some free, some clear air, we might be able to, with the help of some, the people who genuinely want the game to thrive, we might be able to give them something worthwhile to put into their spinnaker and push the game forward because, we've got a watershed 2023 coming, the Women's World Cup, and you've got the opening program, which is an hour, and you've got some wonderful guests. Who will be coming and how have you managed to structure it, my friend?
Well, George, I'm still in the process of structuring it, but the people that I've got on my panel include Bonita Mosiadis, who's a former employee of Football Federation Australia. I've also got a young gun, a young generation reporter, a journalist for the Sydney Morning Herald, the 9 papers, and that is Dominic Bossi. Warren Mundine will come on to talk about the game at grassroots level, and I'm talking about the Indigenous. And I think that's an area that we're still neglecting, I feel, and we should tap into that football market because the AFL and the NRL are tapping into the Indigenous youth, and they are scoring some big goals. We should be doing it in football. And lastly, I've got the former Socceroo from the 1990s in Aitek Gench, who these days is the football boss at St George City in New South Wales in the NPL. Now, there's a great club, isn't it, from years gone by, St George. And Aitek, well, he'll be talking grassroots football as well and how we can build the game from that level.
And we've also got to make it cheaper for the families as well. That's the other thing.
Well, Mike, I wanted to ask you a question because sometimes for people like George and I, when we're sort of in football so often, constantly sort of digging through the weeds, we become acutely aware of all the myriad problems that face the game. But I'm interested on your perspective as someone who obviously has always been connected to the sport but has spent time from the outside looking in. What do you sort of see as the sort of biggest challenges that confront us at the present moment and the kind of things you want to discuss on this day?
Yeah. Look, I think cost is a big factor. I don't want to go to a game at Kogarah Oval or the Sydney Football Stadium or Amy Park or what have you and pay those enormous prices at the turngates, at the turnstiles, and especially when the game is so accessible on television these days. I want to bring my family, but I don't want to pay big money. I think that's probably the biggest issue. Look, and I don't want to go to a game where I can hear crickets I can hear crickets. I want to go to a game where there's an atmosphere. And that was the case back in the early 2000s when the A-League flourished. And, of course, in the late 90s when the National Soccer League was also flourishing with the big teams like South Melbourne, Sydney United, Sydney Olympic. I mean, I can remember those games at Leichhardt Oval, George, when we had up to 15,000 people, and it was a wonderful atmosphere. But the atmosphere seems to have died. Correct me if I'm wrong. The atmosphere seems to have died unless it is a derby match, Sydney and Melbourne. That's about the only time when I can really get excited.
Well, I think that was actually probably one of my biggest takeaways from the grand final, George, is that, 22,000 people in the house at Amy. Obviously, it's not the biggest grand final we've ever had.
It was great.
But both sets of active fans were making noise. And it just gives this, especially when you've gone through a season without a lot of it, it gives this game an added rhythm that I almost forgot from having spent so much time with the A-League this year was there. And we need it back.
We're going to canvass all this and so much more next week from 6 through till 9. Mike Tomalaris will lead us off with the first hour. Then I'll be doing the second hour with a studio audience, thank you very much.
Wow.
So that'll be fun and games. A Q&A or a hypothetical, Mike Tomalaris. And then we've got Andy Pascalides coming up, talking to James Johnson, talking to Danny Townsend, and to people of that calibre to see what we can do next, what lies ahead, and importantly, we don't want it to be a pile-on. We want this to be a constructive and creative program that gives us a chance to canvass a host of ideas that gives people, hope, and more importantly, a light. We want to shine a light and remind people that the reason why we're feeling that the air around the game is so toxic is because it's been a year from hell on about 50 different levels, and we must never forget it. And the one thing I've learned in all my years in news, guess what sells? Bad news. Bad news always sells, doesn't it, Mike?
And George, we're not in the business of criticising the game. We want to find answers. We're going to ask a lot of questions and we want answers to those questions. We're not there to criticise the authorities or the administration.
No.
We're there to build the game to what it was in the past, because at the moment it lacks a lot.
Okay, question for you without notice, and we'll just finish off on this. There's an exciting young guy on a bike, and he's done something no other Australian has ever done, and that is win the Giro d'Italia. What did you make of young Jai?
Well, for those who don't know what the Giro d'Italia is, it's the Tour of Italy, and everyone's heard about the Tour de France. Well, the Tour of Italy, I guess many claim, is the second biggest bike race in the world. It's huge in Europe, and it's only just becoming noticed here in Australia, and perhaps even more so now as a result of Jai Hindley's success. He won the pink jersey, the Maglia Rosa. The Tour de France has the Maillot Jaune, the yellow jersey. Well, the pink jersey is just as prestigious in the world of professional cycling. It's up there with winning the FA Cup, or not exactly the World Cup, but it's up there winning a big football tournament to win the 3-week bike race. You got to remember, these guys going up Dale and down Dale and conquering the biggest mountains and racing over the longest stretches of roads over 3 long weeks. For me, cycling is wonderful, just as wonderful as football, but to tackle those that sort of terrain in Europe over 3,500 kilometres, 21 stages, there's nothing quite like a Grand Tour. And Jai Hindley has done it as the second Aussie to win a Grand Tour after Cadell.
What does it mean in terms of cash?
It means a lot. He is a marked man now wherever he'll travel in Jai Hindley. He'll put an extra 0 on his contract when contract time comes around. The endorsements will come his way. And he won't do the Tour de France this year, George, because it's only 4 weeks away. It's very difficult to back up and do back-to-back Grand Tours. But he will be there, I'm certain, in 2023. And he has the pedigree now. He's proven it that he can go 3 weeks and challenge for the leader's jersey, whatever Grand Tour it is, whether it be the Giro, the Tour de France, or the third Grand Tour on the calendar, and that is the Tour of Spain, La Vuelta.
Mike, look forward to next week. Thanks very much for joining us and giving us a preview of what's coming up. It's called Let's Unite, yeah? Everyone unite for the beautiful game. Unite. All right?
Let's unite.
Catch you
Absolutely.
soon. All the best, my boy.
All right. Bye, Lachie.
He's done it. He's remembered this time. Lachie Flanagan,
Very
thank
nice.
you. Catch you next
week. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to it.
You're listening to the State of Our Football Nation on FNR. Thank you.
Listening to Paco Radio, brought to you by Senol on FNR, Football Nation Radio.
The club wasn't always a situation where we had 400 kids playing and all flush with all these grounds and high-tech stuff that we've got today. So these guys have been instrumental of helping us get to this point. Till now. I mean, like Pepe we played as juniors at the club. We're on the first teams at the club ever to have juniors. You know, Pepe's parents and like my parents come from the town where the club started from. So it's the DNA of Pascal up with people like Pepe, with, you know, and that's what's so important. He's had 3 generations of people come through the club. Like his old man used to play, and you know, Pepe used to play, and his sons have played, and most notably, you know, Stefan, and we've got his son Andre in our senior squad at the moment. So gone through that process. Nick Katzis came to us from playing at Heidelberg Juniors. We signed him as a senior player at 17, I think in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, both of them championship winning players at the club. Nick's also coached got coaching to our reserves back in the day, and he's also coached girls football at the club, and his daughters also play at the club. So I think it's important to understand how you build club cultures, and club cultures have started off with people like, you know, Pepe, Nick, and that's where we're going. And we just want to tell people where we've been and where we want to go. And I think this is one of the stories that's so important for us going forward.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you both on today. I mean, we'll get to all your stories, obviously, with the club, and I guess your relationships with the club as well in just a second. Yep. Before we get to all that, Lou, just run us through the last week in Pascoe Vale. Yeah. I mean, a big win for the senior men.
It was a big win for the senior men on Friday night. Obviously, we came off a loss last week against North Geelong, and, you know, we had a big game against Bulleen on Friday night, and the boys turned up. You know, it was a good game. The boys it was a very tight game. It wasn't much in it. We got the goal, we got the win, and we come home happy. And as we discussed on the show last week, we were struggling to get CB Smith on the Tuesday night, and Hoskin Reserve wasn't obviously up to standard to play a league match like that with the senior football. So our friends at Preston have come on board, and they've given us the ground to play tomorrow night. I mean, they're going to host the night. So I'd like to thank publicly Preston Lions, and in particular David Svetkovsky, their president, who's a really good friend of ours, for hosting the game. You know, I think it's important to build relationships with clubs, and we've got a lot of relationships, and we're very fortunate that we're able to probably contact some other clubs that would have actually helped us out, which we in turn in the past have helped a lot of clubs out. So it's very good to have relationships in the game, and to be able to, for the boys to be able to go play at a ground like Preston on a Tuesday night, you know, under lights, it's going to be a really, really good night for the club. We're going to come against Kingston. Obviously, it's going to be a very tough game. But if the boys come in and put in a good performance, we win, it puts us really in a good spot on the ladder.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Big game for the senior men. Obviously, a great opportunity for them to, continue to obviously back up the win last weekend as well. So for those who are listening at home, what are the details for tomorrow?